party arriving here with a large contingent as they hand in their lists for these elections. And we see President Gabriel Ali and the Prime Minister candidate and the Vice President coming in. See party members there. Mr. Jackie, President Ali.
Remember, we stand in support of our leader of the list. As we present the winning list, the winning team.
President Ali, how are you feeling?
Excellent, electrifying. We are on a way to victory. We have the most comprehensive list, a list that reflects all of Guyana, experience, talent, youth, skill. We have everything in the list and beyond the list to take us forward.
That's a bit about new members,
You will see lots of it. We're moving forward to victory now.
Mr. Jagdeo, well, look for a rally last evening. How are you feeling today?
Great.
And tell us about
Look at that. See the energy out there? Amazing.
you're going to talk with us after you wrap up. So we have the People's Progressive Party arriving to hand in their list. Got a red suitcase with a lock. We see President Gabriel Ali, the Prime Minister, Vice President Jagdeo, and other members of the party going into the Elections Commission nomination center to hand in that list. And we see the members of the PPP led by the presidential candidate, the prime ministerial candidate, and the vice president.
Okay, we're presenting the list as General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party,
We vote with everybody. We want that to go on. Go on in position. We feel everything will be here.
Art Philip, who is also
Yes. Now is the moment. If the new
And so we see members of the PPP about to hand in their list to the Guyana Elections Commission. We're going to step outside a bit as they hand in the list.
And the parties who are going to present the winning list, they have to get through. You can't stop people going to present and you never people. I'm only excited, but just give them a little place. I ain't even supposed to talk, but that's why I open the space in front. Look at the police, they can show you what to do. open the space, let the people go through the winning list. Thank you very much. Okay, it's not need the entrance. We are all looking in this system. We're working on the timing. We are please get back. Everybody get back. Take one step up. No, lovely. One more. Lovely. Look nicely. Okay. One more back. All direction, please. We gotta get in the.
And we see members of the commission, going through the documents being handed in by the People's Progressive Party Civic, a governing party. At the table handing in those documents, we see the presidential candidate, Dr. Irfan Ali. We see the prime ministerial candidate, Brigadier Mark Phillips, retired. We see Vice President Barra Jagdeo, who's also the General Secretary of the PPP. We also see the Executive Secretary of the PPP, Zulfikar Mustafa there, along with another executive of the party, Pauline Sukai. And we are coming to you live from the Guyana, where the People's Progressive Party Civic, they are currently handing in their list of candidates. Of course, that list of candidates will include all the nominees of the party candidates for the elections, as well as those persons who would have nominated the various members on the list. So you're seeing the members, the leadership of the PPP handing in those lists right now to GCOM. And of course, GCOM will go through the checks to ensure everything is okay and everything is right with their list. And once they do that, then they give the go-ahead for them to move on out of the auditorium here at the Guyana. It's raining now on the outside, so it's quieting down out there with the supporters. Many of them still in the rain. Of course, we've got the Alliance for Change. They're supposed to be coming in next to hand in their list. But as what's happening now is that you can see the People's Progressive Party, Civic, the governing party, very confident of winning these elections, handing in their list. Of course, they're coming off of that big launch rally last evening, which took place in Kitty. And the party leaders say they're energized and they believe they've got this one in the bag. And so they're going to be moving ahead with these elections, fully prepared for these elections. So as you see the process going on now, the leadership of the PPP just handing in those lists to GCOM, checking the list before they do the final handover. And then once they do that, and GCOM gives the all clear, we will get the go ahead. They will get a go ahead to wrap up this session. We have some observers here who were here early. I see members of the Carter Center here and some other observers here who are part of this process. I see some members from the diplomatic mission also here. And of course, we have the GCOM commissioners here too as part of this nomination day process. The PPP wrapping up that process right now. We see them handing in some of the final set of lists. Then, as usual, they'll greet the commissioners, then make their way out of the Guyana, the auditorium here, that is the host for this nomination day process. And the PPP wrapping up this process.
How are you? Good?
It was great. Very
Come back here.
very efficiently done. Yeah. Where's the president? Yeah.
Can we get an
And Prime
understanding
Minister.
of why this is the winning list? We've been hearing about the winning list from your party.
The winning list is not only about the list, it's about performance. The PPP Civic has always put forward lists when we go to election that demonstrate who we are, the values that we stand for. Bringing people together, youth representation, women representation, farmers, professionals, doctors. We bring together all of Guyana. That is why we are so efficient. That is why we are results-driven, results-oriented, and that is why the PPP Civic has always achieved everything that we set ourselves to achieve. So this is a winning list because we know that in that list, we represent Guyana. In that list, we represent every sector, and in that list, we represent what is good for Guyana, and we're presenting what is good for Guyana.
What are the changes you made to the list, though?
Well, the General Secretary is here. We don't. All I would say is that our lists have continuity of people representing all segments of our population, every religion, every ethnicity, women, youth, and people who are results oriented. And we have, of course, a strong party and strong technicians backing us also.
Who are some of the new persons you'll see on the list that are on your list?
So, just to reinforce the point made by the president, when you examine all the parties contesting the elections, you can find clear differentiation between those parties in terms of outlook, plans for the future, and performance and track record. The People's Progressive Party has a demonstrated track record of laying out well-laid, sustainable plans and implementing those. We have a track record of implementing what we promise. We have a clear vision for the future, and Guyana is excited about that vision. The vision includes all the people of our country, particularly the young people of this country. On the other hand, we have our opponents. What do they have to offer the country? APNU and AFC, they've had 5 years of failed policies, broken promises, and attempting to steal the elections. And that's the least of it. They have no plan for the future, no vision for the future. Mohammed is marred in criminality. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Any of the crossovers from
And
PNP?
so I will get to that.
Okay, good.
I'll get to that. You're trying to throw me off what I'm speaking about. So let me say that there really, any impartial person in this country who had to choose a political party with a clear conscience would choose the People's Progressive Party. The others are race-based. All they talk about is race. We talk about bringing people together. You saw it in the rally yesterday, the energy. That has happened, never happened in the history of this country. Maybe in the 50s, 1950s, when this country was united. Never. The energy coming down here, the love, that's what the PPP is about. And that's a winning list. So on the list itself, we have sugar workers, we have miners, we have rice farmers, we have a lot of professionals, We have about 27 young people below 25 years old. We have a number of others below 40 years old. We have people with experience. It's almost every profession you can think about it. And look at it itself. Look at the man who is standing here before you. He is incredibly experienced and he's young. Still very young, but incredibly experienced. He has a track record of implementing things. Where is Brigadier?
I'm right here.
Look at Brigadier Mark.
Still young.
He commanded he commanded the army. He kept our country safe. Look at the counterparts. Even forget the policy. If you're choosing just on experience. And then Norton has never managed anything. Director of Finance never managed anything. Nigel Hughes. And the other one just managed criminal behavior. And so this is why it's a winning list.
Well, one of the things about our list you will see is that I spoke about continuity in our list. You will see that there's a deliberate attempt here by the People's Progressive Party Civic, not only about uniting and everything that the leader of the list spoke about, but more importantly, this is about preparing the next generation of leaders. This is about giving the next generation of leaders exposure, experience, because we believe in Guyana. We believe in Guyana 30, 40 years from now. And the only way we can deliver that Guyana to successive generation is if we prepare leaders, if we prepare our young people, if we give them a chance. And that is what you see we're doing on this list too.
Yeah, Mark, say something. Mark.
This is the fourth installment submission of the list towards victory on the 4th of September. On the 4th of September is a continuation of development, continuation of growth, continuation of focusing on having our youths in the forefront of leadership and management of Guyana. Development 2.0. Growth 2.0.
Mr. Jagdeo, I know you said you have the victorious list. Are you convinced that if that victory comes, it will come by a big majority and you might not have the one seat that you currently enjoy?
We're hoping for an overwhelming majority. We're working towards that. We believe from what we have seen that will happen, but we're taking nothing for granted. We told the people who support us that they have to work harder than even before to ensure that happens. We have the support, but now it's to translate that support into votes on election day. That means high turnout. You have to get people not to be complacent, because a lot of people already believe, when they see massive numbers, oh, we win already, we don't need to come out. That could step in, and we don't want that to happen. So the large victory can be assured, because we have grown in every single community in this country, every single community among every race. Everyone is included, and that shows. And so I'm hoping that everybody will be working towards that victory, all of our supporters, and they're energized now to work towards that
What
victory.
do you say to those supporters, those persons who might not be your supporters, and they may be undecided, and they have concerns about, going with your party? What do you say to them?
But that's why we sought to allay the concerns. The president spoke about everyone being included in our vision, every single one. That the stereotypes that they heard about us historically, we're breaking those stereotypes, and they can see it. They just need to talk to the people who've come to us, and they can feel the love and how we treat people in our family. So we have addressed that. We spoke directly at our rally, our campaign launch, to those people who are sitting on the fence. And that is why I said, if you sit on the fence, analyze the policy-making capacity of the PPP, analyze its implementation capacity, analyze its trustworthiness. And if you do that analysis on all three counts, we stand way above the others. Then look at the experience of our leaders. And again, we stand above everyone else. So you can trust us to deliver for all Guyana. When we return the children's grant, we didn't do it for PPP children. We did it for all the children of Guyana. Today, They're getting $11 billion more per year than they were getting under APNU. We double old age pension, not for a particular race of Guyanese, but for all Guyanese. When we return free the water subsidy to people, it was across the board. When the 100,000 grant was paid, it was paid to all Guyanese. I can go down the long list of things. We work for Guyana. And therefore, those who are sitting on the fence, we're urging them, let's show this country we can break this pattern of racial voting. Let's make this 2025 the year when we do that as a country and move forward together.
Jack, what was the catalyst for the changes made to the list?
Well, let me just add something very important. The changes that you've seen in the party, in the representation from every community, came because of hard work. It is not about elections. From day one, when we came into office, we walked every single community. We worked with every single community. We brought every single community on board with the development plan. We did not plan in isolation of the people. We worked to let people understand what the strategy was, how development is going to benefit them. So today, this mass movement that you're seeing behind the PPP came as a result of a commitment we made, staying true to that commitment, staying true to our values, and working hard to ensure that all of Guyana, in a massive way, is reflected in the People's Progressive Party. Compare that with the rest. All that you're getting from the rest is the same old rhetoric.
Mr. President,
Race, division, you'll allow me? Race, division, hate, that is all they bring. No policy, nothing transformative. Look at our plan. Our plan goes beyond the normal. It speaks about the transformation of our country, the next level that we're taking Guyana, and how all of Guyana is going to move to that next level.
Mr. President, what were the determining factors that caused you to make changes to the list?
But why are you saying your changes? You haven't seen the list? You haven't seen the list?
The president just said there is continuity and then there's renewal. That's how we work.
Yes.
Continuity with experienced people and also renewal. I just told you that 27 of the persons on our national list are under 25 years old. Some as young as 19 years. Yeah, we will in due course. We have a whole week where you'll see their faces, you'll be introduced to them, you'll talk to them. We have a long time to go. Today is just the first day.
Become new ministers, but you're going beyond beyond the moment. Let's enjoy the moment.
Let's enjoy it. Thank you.
As a representative of the list, do you see some of these new faces becoming new ministers?
Anything is possible with the president. He was a young man when he became president. Anything is possible with
Mr. Jagdeo, I know these are elections and we're seeing some new candidates, and there's one particular candidate that appears to be gaining more attractiveness or attention than the other new candidates. Mr. Mohammed, is the party concerned about, about his
Attraction or
candidacy?
attention?
What do I say?
This is
No, because
Let the
the candidate that you hear people talking
speak
about.
for itself.
Listen,
I think APNU has to worry more about the Mohammeds than the People's Progressive Party. And their quiet collaboration is harming them, is backfiring them. The quiet collaboration that we know of,
And
the money that they are getting from behind the scenes, it's all working out. And they made promises to him that he would not have to face, or he may avoid accountability for his criminal activities. That's the promise that was made. If he would split the PPP's vote, it's backfiring on them now. And so this is what I say for him. I don't want to waste my day today. It's a happy day to talk about the
Parliament, would you still strike a deal with him?
No, there will not be a hung parliament. There will not be a hung parliament. In 2020, look at the others. They've all lost energy. I saw APNU. It's a shadow of itself. A shadow of itself. AFC Last night I saw the poll, they were still looking for a prime ministerial candidate. They're polling this. So, thank you. Enjoy the day.
And the media fraternity will have much to celebrate when they see our list. You will have much to celebrate.
We have the presidential candidate, President Irfanali, Vice President Dr. Barra Jagdeo, talking with us. And of course, they're ready for that.
So, Mosley, you want to come on the list?
No, I'm good. I'm good. But you're confident, sir?
100%.
There's
only one road, the road to victory.
Thank you, sir.
Walking back to the
Yeah, you were telling us.
There's only one road, the road to victory with the people. That's what we're about.
In terms of young candidates, though, that's about young candidates. I know.
You will see the list. You will see the list. We have.
Were you pressured in any way to make adjustments to the list?
Pressure from who?
Internally or by,
we have
by,
one
by,
team.
by public sentiment?
No. That's a narrative you guys love to share.
No, I'm asking you.
I'm telling you, we have one team. A team of unity, a team of love, a team of progress, a team of development. The People's Progressive Party is one family, one big, happy, loving family.
There were some discussions about changing the prime ministerial candidate. And
where were those discussions?
It was in the public domain.
In your head. And some people who love to play as if they are the creator of news. Not even 1 second of thought was ever given to that.
What is the campaign going to look like for you? In terms of the national campaign, what is that going to look like? You had a big launch last evening.
Our campaign is going to be based on family, love, hope, aspiration, the future. It's going to be very positive. It's going to be very uplifting, inspirational. The aspirational goals of our people will be delivered in the campaign. It's going to be a campaign that we are heading to victory.
And we have President Irfanali chatting a bit there with us. And we see Vice President Jagdeo now making his way back to the crowd in these elections, nomination day, as the rain comes down here just in front of the Guyana. Bring the back. And you see the members of the PPP are now exiting the nomination area, where they handed in their list for these elections. And I think the Alliance for a Change is going in next to hand in their list. So as the PPP exit, we're going to try to make our way in. Now we spoke with the leader of the AFC a bit earlier, and now we see them heading into the Guyana to hand in that list.
Careful in front before we turn around. We're coming around now, watch yourself. Please check it out from
Mr. Hughes, how do you feel as you make that walk in? The first time you're walking into nomination as a presidential candidate.
All I would say is I feel the presence of God next to me, and I'm happy about that.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you, Doc?
That's all in God's hands. I don't know.
How confident are you? So far, determines your confidence?
We now have the Alliance for Change heading into hand in their list. just handed in their list, and we see the leader and the executives of the Alliance for Change having a little chit chat with the GCOM officials, the chief election officer there, Vishnu Prasad. Mr. Gidding, the deputy chief election officer. We have Mr. Hughes making his way out, and I think he's going to go and shake hands with some of the members of the commission. And the AFC just handing in their list.
If you guys can come and stand here, please, for us, it'll be very helpful. If you can just come beyond this big part here, it'll be very helpful. Can you tell us a little bit about your list
In relation
that you presented today?
we presented a list for all the regions in all the categories. We've identified the head of the list, the presidential candidate, and in several regions we have
How does this list represent again these people? What is the poll factor?
a couple of things. We just have to look at the gates that went in, and this is perhaps the broadest that we represent. 50% of our cabinet is lucky enough to be elected or be nominated. Almost 50% of our candidates have the list female, and they're also ethnically diverse.
How easy was it for people to sign and to nominate for the list? Was it a difficult task?
It required me traveling around to some remote, on the border, Vitero, and what have you. But we got there pretty quickly, and we were happy with it.
Who are some of the new people on the data?
That's very good. Gandhi, Depo, Sharma, Gavin Twain, Viswana, Jefford. Quite a few people there you'll discover on the list in 2 days.
And your prime ministerial candidate?
We're going to announce that by Friday. We have to abide by all party procedures, which is the best consideration and appointment.
Do you have a launch?
Yeah, we will have a launch event. But we've released a lot of our fundamental policies already. So, for example, our infrastructure plan for all 10 regions is already out there. It's been out there for 10 for about 2 or 3 weeks. I think today the education will bring out IT, they're going to be released as we go on social policy. Oh, that's going to be out there. So there's stuff already.
How easier was it, or how difficult was it to get coming in this, given the fact that there was a failure in the talks with APN?
Well, like they're saying, it wasn't difficult at all because we've got new fresh blood. We've got Mr. Sharma, who is Minister of Finance.
People were weighing it.
I found Mr. Sharma who was blind, but he's got the experience. I mean, and I could, no wish to be unjust, but I could make the same comments about some of my competitors. So,
What are you looking for in a PM candidate? Gender, age?
you're looking. I don't want to prejudice that, but chances are that we're probably looking at a female candidate. But that's not fixed. It's always up to the party.
Mr. Hughes, what needs to happen in your party, the processes that need to unfold before you tell us that PM candidate?
We have a national executive committee, which is the highest decision-making body in the party, and it has to consider all the names that are on the list as potential candidates for Prime Minister.
Can you tell us how many names are shortlisted?
I'd rather be fair at the moment. There are quite a few. There are in excess of 4
When will
All
that
women.
decision be taken?
before the end of the week.
The last time you came to elections, sir, the AFC came with a partner, the APNU. They were here earlier. Now you're here by yourself. Do you regret that the partnership, a collaboration did not take place for this election?
You remember when we started alone. The next election we went alone. We went in together and we went in together. So the history is a little balanced. I think the AFC has come back to its core principles and its core approach to politics. I've said repeatedly that we believe that if we are successful at elections, it must involve the governance of this country, must involve the opposition parties.
But back to the question, do you regret that a coalition wasn't formed between the two?
No, it takes two hands to clap. I think we did as much clapping as we could. As a matter of fact, we perhaps overclapped. So I don't regret it. It's the way events unfolded.
Mr. Hughes, you think you'll have sufficient time to introduce a prime ministerial candidate to the electorate, even this late moment in the cycle?
No, I don't think so, particularly in the electronic age. As you know, 85% of the electorate is now reached by electronic means. So the old way in which you went out to districts and introduced somebody in person and went to bottom house meetings, that has changed. You can meet 85% of the electorate electronically. So we don't have a...
What percentage of your
Mr.
list is
Sharma,
made up of youths?
shortlisted to be a prime ministerial candidate? Mr. Jaigo Sharma?
Forgive me, I said I don't want to disclose the content of the potential candidates for prime minister.
Mr. Hughes, based on your performance at the 2020 election, are you confident you will do well in the national election?
I don't think we competed in the local government election. No, we did not. So I have nothing to base it on.
Mr. Hughes, can you speak to the percentage of youths that make up your list? And is the party concerned about what you submitted? Is the party concerned about the impact of the Win party and how that may affect your support?
I would say in excess of 30% of our candidates would be youth. Win is, as you can tell, is extremely popular. We've had parties like Win before, which have been extremely popular. We are confident in the content of our policy and we move forward for the Alliance for Change. I will acknowledge, I'll be the first to acknowledge that Win is very popular. And you will remember I was the first that said they have a right to compete. The Guyanese people should have the widest possible choice of party. Once their policies are not the same.
Do you believe that they can determine the outcome of the election to the extent of the removal of the KP or a priority if you can win?
Well, going to what the polls say, people tend to tell polls what they think polls to us to hear. So polls that notoriously unreliable. But certainly from the people who've been turning out, there seems to have a significant impact, sufficient to, I think, affect the outcome.
Are you open to collaboration with them?
Collaboration, but I think the time for that's gone. Our lists are in, our symbols are in. So the only thing we have to join them.
Would you have liked to collaborate?
If you ask me what I'd like to do, there are many things that I would like to do.
Is that a yes?
No, you're not going to listen. And like I said, it's past. That time is past. So I'm not going to express opinions. Forgive me if I don't answer that.
Do you believe that by a piece of service of international
our native to the east, like to the Baltic City. There was a restaurant in our pockets in the Baltic City for 2 decades. Mr. Baltic City was elected twice, I believe, and served in that capacity. I can't say whether it's Suriname suffered that issue. So I'm not sure that the fact that there are sanctions against us will necessarily impact. It certainly doesn't impact the eligibility of the other as a charge here. I don't know if that will impact the
And where are Mr. Revishnand and Mr. Patterson today?
Well, they only allow a limited number of persons to come in here. I know that beyond the gate, check you may find them. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
We had the Alliance for Change there handing in their list. And now they're moving out from the area here after handing in their list for these elections.
You don't take a day off?
Hello? Huh?
Alright, good.
Yeah, you got slow right down. You got to walk slow. Fully confident. How confident? On the scale of 1 to 10. 10. You sure? 10.
We have the ALP arriving there.
That's some excitement.
what is happening. We did the first leg and start when the list was out. Number one, it took a while before GCOM could have placed the list on the website, just that you can go and get the signatures. For me, I think that this is something that was really ridiculous. And when they place it out there, by the time we start to get the signatures, and then to come back and amend it, just to amend it as it relates to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you look at the time span, if there's time for correction and all of that, I think you want to be able to compete where you're comfortable, you're confident, and you know that you will be able to get it done. So regardless of what, you have that time frame to come. We want to come with our transparency and our integrity. We want to make sure we get it right. It's not knowing from jump how difficult it is, and then when you can't get there, then you cry foul. And so there's a simple reason why we did not compete in the other regions.
You have a prime ministerial candidate?
Well, our list is different because our list comprised of another youth. The Constitution speaks to 1/3 being women. We have not only included that, but 1/3 being youth. We have a lot of young people on the list. And we come together really for this good change from different constituencies, and from the constituencies that I was out there working and really see and look at poverty in the face of poverty, and having real people from these communities coming forward to bring that good change. And I believe that is a wonderful place to start from. It is unique, and what makes us different, because God is our strength. So we are standing on a solid rock, which is the word of the Lord. We have a broad list. We have not yet identified a prime minister candidate. People that's not what is important. We have a brilliant team, and we all work together. So when we appoint that, definitely we'd love to share it with the news so that it could be made public. You asked about some of the persons on the list. That is something that we have discussed, because for me it speaks to faces and classism. We're not there. A lawyer is as equally important as a sweeper cleaner. A doctor is equally important as a security guard. A vendor is equally important. Getting the numbers, and we know that even by launching and getting this far, that good change is already here for Guyana.
For those who don't know, what's the name of your party?
It's the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity, the ALP, and I'm happy, thanks for the question, to put it out here. And may I make a pitch to the media to ask all of you to vote for the ALP, which is the Assembly for Liberty.
How about your funding? Can you talk to us about funding?
Well, funding is coming from with us. We are not selling anything. We're not selling dreams. We're coming with truth. And so our membership, we are not being paid. We do it. The resources that I have, and we pool and we get the job done. We get the job done. And we're open if you want to give us a contribution.
Could you perhaps tell us about the qualities and experience you perhaps want for your PM candidate, but also for your other leaders? What are they bringing?
Well, the first thing for me is the integrity. The integrity is big, and I made it clear that everybody had to get a police clearance and submit, which is different, because we want to ensure that we are not out there to promote that you do anything, operate anyhow, and then come as a leader. That is not what we want for the young people, and that is not what we should guide the young people through. So we want young people to hold themselves accountable. If politics and you want to serve your country, what you do and how you do it, it has consequences. And we don't believe that persons with the type of behavior that we see sometimes is what we really want to encourage. We want to encourage a Guyana where that good change, and young people look forward to serving their country and making Guyana and Guyanese proud. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. We're talking there with Ms. Simona Brooms, the presidential candidate for the ALP, the Assembly of Liberty and Prosperity. And so just wrapping up, handing in their list, telling us she's competing in 6 of the 10 regions, thereby allowing the her to get on the national ballot, you have to compete in at least 6 regions. So she said they have done that. They'll be competing in 6 regions. And we see another party about to go in now, the Forward Guyana movement. So we have the Forward Guyana movement about to head in now to hand in their list. Ms. Woman is here. You're going in now to hand in your list. Tell us about the process you've been going through, one of the newest parties.
My goodness gracious me. Listen, the level of excitement with us is unbelievable. We've been able to raise candidates from 7 regions in 21 days. I don't think that has been accomplished in Guyana's history. And so I think Forward Guyana, we've started off making history. The other historical part about this is that our list is about 6 to 7% female. Yeah! 6 to 7% female. And we're talking females from every race, across age limits and groups. We have persons with disability who have called to sign up. So we believe that the spirit of what we're doing here in Guyana is catching on. I believe that we provide a very credible alternative, and I stress the word credible alternative to the people of Guyana. Because
what does that mean?
Credibility matters. I can only attest to the fact of what we've been able to do with limited resources, with limited manpower, but just the spirit of the people of Guyana that have reached out. There are people who showed up here this morning. We did not do a public call, but we had dozens of people showing up to support us. And I think it's all testament to the authenticity of this movement.
What are the 3 regions you're not competing in?
7, 8, and 9.
How come? Any particular reason?
Logistical, because like I said, this is less than 3 weeks old. And so the minimum requirement is 6. We've been able to raise 7. We're going into GCOM now for them to tell us, you know, if there are any defects that need to be cured. We eagerly await hearing from them. You know, we've had our concerns about the way that they have prepared for these elections and the manner in which the 2 parties have been able to go before us, and the logistical challenges that action poses or threatens, you know, newer movements like ours with. But we're here, happy for the support, and we'll be happy to brief you all when we get out. You will see it coming. You wait, just you wait. You'll see. We'll talk some more.